everybody. We all have that friend who toots his own horn a bit much. We all know people who can't stop self promoting on social media to the point of giving us physical nausea. Kiran and I recently got into a conversation about people we know who do this, and we got into a sort of a debate between us about how much promotion, self promotion, is too much self promotion, and where does one draw the fine line between creating awareness, sharing information, and authenticity. So, Kiran?
It's a very fine line, as you said. And I've been guilty of it, Shonali. You know that. In the past, when I started out and I had my first book, first, second, third book out, I was the one tooting my horn all the time to the point that it embarrassed me because I was told that is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to talk about your work, and if you don't, no one else is going to do it for you. And I did not know that line. I did not see that line. I think I was nauseating everyone around me. And I had some kind friends like you who told me, Kiran, calm down, tone it down a bit. There were some who were not so kind who told me, like, what is wrong with you? And why are you disgusting everyone? But it's taken me a while. And I do realize, Shonali, that we all in this world have to toot our horn a certain bit. It is a necessary evil. You can't live in a little cave and expect people to know of you and your work. You have to put it out there. But that fine line, that is the difficult point. I think not many people can straddle that fine line.
See, I get your point. I hear you. And a part of me, when I talk to youngsters around us today, and when I see our contemporaries and our colleagues doing it, don't give that smile, that telling, knowing smile. See, the thing is that it seems that we do live in an era where, I know, apparently, if you don't highlight your accomplishments and admire yourself on Instagram and your work, and I'm not talking about admiring your looks, your appearance, physical appearance. I'm talking about your achievements. I got this award. I got nominated for this. So and so said this about my film or my book. Sharing a tweet in praise of your work. Sharing reviews, which of course is par for the course. Everyone needs to do that. And I'm not just talking about books. I'm talking about anything.
Any creative work.
Any creative work. But the constantly sharing appreciation about your work, if you don't do that, there's an argument to be made, I concede, that you will get lost in the clutter of the other people online who have not much to talk about in terms of their achievement. And you will get beaten down by people who are screaming horse from rooftops with neon signs.
Absolutely. You will get beaten down by people who are screaming horse. The other side is what I've realized is, yes, you are going to promote yourself and you are going to promote your work, but what happens when you do it too much? And that is what has irked both of us.
No, I think that is also there. But the other thing is, I think we come from a generation and an upbringing where you said, let your work speak for you. Right? And I think modesty and humility was a quality that was a trait that we were encouraged to have. Right? You didn't sit around girlfriends and say, oh, I got a 98 out of 100 in math. How much did you get? I mean, I never got to say that because I never got those marks. But I'm just saying that,
It was just unseemly to talk about your achievements. But I think, Shonali, this is a very gendered thing. I mean, you see men from our generation who have absolutely no qualms about tooting their own horns and tooting it over and over again and very loudly.
Yeah.
And these are men, I'm sorry to say, some are lovely people, but with not half the achievements that some of the women have. But the women will not be talking about their achievements, while the men will be going on and on ad nauseum, ad infinitum about it.
Remember, we've discussed it before that when we sit with our male writer friends, then most of the conversations revolve around their work and their book.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
And in LitFest also, when you go, unless you've written something really extraordinarily path-breaking, something which is sort of going to change the course of the cultural conversations around you, which is not us at least. So I'm just saying that it is true that humility is something that women have been encouraged to, a trait that they've been encouraged to imbibe and have.
I'm glad you mentioned this, that when we have conversations with male writers, it's them who's talking, unless you've written something path-breaking. I was at a LitFest last year when there was a woman writer who had won a very major prize. I'm not going to name her. She's a lovely person. And she was sitting and in the author's lounge and chatting, and there was a male writer there talking to her. And the male writer was only talking about his work. This woman has won an international award.
Really?
And please listen to her. Give her the space. She is not speaking about her work. I mean, at that point, she was like, my work has spoken for itself.
That's correct.
I don't need to speak about it. But maybe he was trying to get her acquainted with his work. I don't know what the thing was. But I was listening in and thinking, you cannot brag about your work to her. Please
Yeah.
stop.
No, but there's also one is inconsideration, lack of interest in somebody else's work. And the other is a sort of dismissiveness that if she got recognition, it might have been a pure chance. You know, if you meet a Booker shortlist, male versus female, you'll see the
Difference immediately.
you will.
Absolutely. Having said that, there's so much self-promotion going on. And I think we, as a people who are consuming this self-promotion, are really falling for it to a point. Unless somebody talks about their work or stands on the rooftop and screams and says that, listen, this is what I'm doing, we don't think people are worthy of our attention.
That's not true. I don't think so. I can speak for myself. I get put off by people. Kiran, see, you do something, you have a book out. Okay, you're a designer, you have come out with a collection. Naturally, you will say, this went into creating it. We'll share snippets about, when we are doing book promotion tours, when there are interviews that, we've given to other publications. Of course, we'll share that. That is sharing information. And to that end, it is justified. You're sharing information about your product with the market out there. Okay. But what I'm saying is that if you only constantly talk about met Mr. So-and-so or some celebrity, and even he said, oh my God, such a fan, this kind of stuff is what I'm talking about.
The extreme stuff. Okay, the extreme non-stop. But maybe there's some formula to it that we need to ace. Maybe
it's your gut instinct. When you feel, am I not doing enough? Maybe I need to really go into turbo mode and over-promote myself. Pull back because your gut is telling you, no, do it at your own pace, share that information, but stop somewhere.
The gut tells you all the time. But what happens is the pressure to promote is too much because you see everyone else doing it.
Yeah.
And I speak from a person who's published, from the point of view of someone who's published books. If you don't talk about your book and you don't promote it, there are 300, 400 titles coming out every month. Where does your book land? And its discoverability at the end of the day is not just about one reader telling another. It's also about, promoting it and getting the word of mouth out, getting the buzz. Initially, but not constantly. Yeah. I agree with you on that.
The first 2-3 months when your book is out, of course you do that. We all do that. You have to do that. But if you're doing it 1 and 2 years later,
then
it's
there's
a
bit too much.
And this is what I'm saying, that when I see anybody over promote their product, I begin to doubt the authenticity of the product and the quality of the product. Because I begin to think that if you have so much to say about what you have done, nobody else is speaking enough about it. I'm really being 100% authentic with you here, and I'm telling you this. And it doesn't have to be only about... and the other is, of course, a lot of people who self-promote, hustling, meeting juries, having lunches and dinners with them, social climbing, to make the right contacts, whether they are glamorous actors or, smart politicians, wanting that selfie with them and to post it on your social media, making them hold your book and do it, is also a part of nauseating self-promotion.
After a point, it becomes a blind spot to the viewers.
Not blind spot, nauseating spot. That's what I'm saying. Blind spot.
You don't notice it. You don't realize because it's just another promotional thing. Like you just pass over their feed, like your eyes glaze over. At least that happens for me. I finish being nauseated by it. I realize that you need to do it. But after a point of time, I'm not even looking or registering at what they're posting.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. And I think that's where the danger happens. When you post it, you do your promotions. It's very essential. You have to do it. If you don't do it, your book will, why am I sticking to books? Your work will get, anything, your creative work will get lost. But if you're constantly shoving it down somebody's throat, they're not going to register after a point.
That is true.
And that's wasted effort.
Yeah.
That's all that effort.
But there's great joy in watching people network at literature festivals and book launches with celebrities around, because you'll always have that writer friend acquaintance, who is going to thread their way through the crowd and sidle up to somebody important and say, "Oh my God, such a fan! Can we have a picture, please?"
Here's my book.
And within seconds,
That will go up.
that is online, because now the hustle is also to get more followers, which is in every profession.
You know, the strangest thing that happened to me at the Bangalore Lit Fest? There was this young writer. I was not familiar with her work. She was wandering around with her book in her hand, going up to everybody, me included, from Shashi Tharoor to little old me, saying, "Oh, please, such a fan, and this is my book. Can I have a picture?" She makes a pose, clicks a picture, and takes the book back. For
From
the next
Shashi
person,
Tharoor?
from everybody, for the next person to click a picture with.
Yeah, well, this is
This is what it
exactly what
is.
I'm talking about. So we were, I won't mention which literature festival, but there was one very new young writer also, or maybe two books old, and she was, basically talking about people being starstruck by Dr. Shashi Tharoor.
Okay.
And she said, "I just don't get it, I mean, people never leave him alone. Everybody wants a selfie with him. What's with that? And at the end of the day, he's only just a politician, quote unquote." And then we were at this dinner venue, and she's asking somebody, "Can you please introduce me to him?" Which is fine. And next thing you know, she is taking a selfie with him.
Lovely.
And I was like, I think that something needs to be said for having double standards. Right? And it's not just in literary circles. I know somebody, all she ever did from the beginning of when Twitter and Instagram, we all joined it around the time, that she would go from party to party, taking pictures with celebrities and posting those pictures. And I'm sure she has 1 million followers today.
Wonderful.
Because unfortunately, we live in a culture which prefers spectacle over substance.
Which is what I was saying. When you post and you overpost and you hype, there is a section of people, it may not be you and I, Shonali, but there is a section of people which will look up at these people and say, okay, they are important.
Yeah.
They
If
have
she's
something.
saying she's important, she must be.
She must be important.
Yeah.
If she's posing with these people, she must be. So many people are saying good things about his work. He must be good.
Yeah.
They will not use their own discretion. And that's, I think, the audience that this panders to.
Yeah, but so if you take it beyond even creative work, I know we've already spoken about Ori, but since we spoke about him, he's become even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no escaping social media without reading about him or looking at his photos. But he is a true representation of the culture we live in.
Absolutely.
Celebrity and spectacle over substance. That's exactly what it is.
And the question still is, what does Ori do?
So this morning, somebody I know had posted several pictures with him, and she was gushing at him in the pictures that, oh my God, he's like a ray of sunlight. He's the smartest cookie in the jar. And
He is a smart cookie, I'll give him that.
yeah, I agree. And it seems he just had some party where he had some 20 duplicates, body doubles, and then now he wears some jacket with his own face on it. And I mean, he's the not good looking Kardashian in that sense, right? To put it bluntly. So I said to her, I don't get it, babe. Because she's herself taken so many selfies with him, and her so as a husband. I guess they were invited to the party. So I said, I don't get it. Why are you all promoting this gentleman? She said, because he's so smart.
That's the point.
No, that's not reason enough. He's not Einstein. I'm just saying that I'll walk up to Einstein and take a selfie, but I'm saying Ori's actually smart because he has seen through this generation. He's seen through the weakness and he's capitalizing on it. So I generally, give him more credit today than I did a few months ago, for sure.
He is smart.
Because he's the one having the last laugh. And these fools who are taking photographs with him, he's probably laughing at them also.
But he's got them where he wants them, right? He's got all of us where he wants us.
No, not us. Don't count us in.
Jantai.
We can't not talk about him because on our podcast, we discuss popular culture.
Hmm.
Okay, so we can't, this is not a podcast about Raza's and Suza's work. Okay, so we can't escape from speaking about him because he is a sign of the times we live in.
And it's a very depressing sign of the times we live in, because if somebody who has absolutely nothing to show in terms of creating something, adding value to the world, leaving something behind for posterity, gets this amount of fame and notoriety, we are bang on in the Kardashian culture, of course. But in the corporate world, Shonali, I've been realizing I have quite a few friends who are in the corporate space in very senior positions, they grapple with this a lot because it is a double-edged sword. Self-promotion. How much do you promote yourself? If you promote yourself too much, you risk angering your
Of
superiors.
course.
If you don't promote yourself enough, people do not know what you're capable of and you get passed over for promotions,
Yeah.
raises, perks. So that very delicate line of that they have to
Yeah.
balance.
In American corporate culture, self promotion is the only way to get ahead, it seems.
But it's very different in the Eastern countries, in
Because
Japan,
because in our countries, again, humility is still a virtue.
and in
Okay?
countries like Japan and Korea, the whole is more important than the individual.
Of course.
So,
Yeah.
if you're promoting yourself over the team, you're bound to become the black sheep.
It is true.
And very often, they do find, yes, there is research to state that men, even if they don't have the abilities, promote themselves much more than women who have all the requirements for the job or who are doing well at their work.
Because we are meant to make ourselves invisible.
We're meant to make ourselves smaller.
Yeah. To accommodate their size. I mean, not literally. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe literally as well. But
Yeah,
I
man
mean,
spreading is everywhere.
yeah, exactly. There's a meme about a man explaining man spreading to a woman.
And I would like to see one about a man explaining mansplaining to a woman.
There is a meme for that also. Yeah.
Is there a meme left for anything?
Yeah, I love the meme culture. I'm such a fan. But coming back to, speaking of creative people who, writers today, I find it really challenging because all creative jobs are, inward looking jobs, right? And which is why introverts thrive in these jobs. But talking literature festivals, marketing yourself across Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and finding things to say about yourself in different ways across platforms is not something that an introvert or an ambivert is very equipped to do. It's not a skill set that creative people possess. And yet, if they don't sharpen these skills or develop these skills, they may not be able to sell their work. So sometimes, I used to not have a LinkedIn profile. And as I've just mentioned before, over the last 4-5 years, I've completely stopped tweeting. I was doing happy pictures on Instagram because I like clicking pictures and, sharing them. And then it was pointed out to me by my sister who works with MasterCard, and she looks at innovation and marketing for a certain region based out of Singapore. And she said that, you don't even have a LinkedIn profile and nobody will take you seriously professionally if you don't have that. And so now that I have a LinkedIn profile, someone pointed out to me that, you had such a good Twitter following and presence and now you don't tweet. So my question then is that if all I'm doing is skipping from Instagram to Twitter to LinkedIn, when am I doing any real work?
Absolutely.
And those who are doing this really well, when are they doing any real work?
So are they doing any real work is the question? Or is it all performative?
That's exactly the whole point of it.
So most of it is performative, if you see. My first thought, I'm sorry, I've been on that side where I used to tweet the whole day and I was posting stuff quite regularly. I'm not on Twitter often anymore. In Insta, I'm there. Maybe I put up a post or two.
Yeah.
And some...
Oh, and there's Facebook and all this. I forgot about the old people's medium.
We've forgotten Facebook completely.
Facebook have completely left out. But I'm saying there are people who do it across the 4 platforms.
But they're very focused on building their presence, their online personality or
But
whatever.
when are you doing, this is what I'm saying, when are you doing creative work?
And this
is there an hour you set aside in the day just to do this like you do for gym and meditation and yoga?
Bloody hell. But when I see somebody tweeting the whole day, or putting up Insta posts back to back or stories continuously, I'm guilty of it when I'm on holiday, not otherwise. I start to doubt the person's ability to work.
Naturally.
Because if all your energy is going there, as you said, when are they doing work and what work are they doing? What is the quality of the work that is coming out that you need to keep shouting about it so often?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was, there's a list of writers who are all very accomplished, by the way, and who are really not very easily accessible through social media or otherwise. So Haruki Murakami tops the list. Then there is Cormac McCarthy. And of course, Elena Ferrante. People don't even know who she really is.
They don't know
now,
what she looks
this is
like.
what I'm saying. So if someone argues with me and says, no, in today's day and age, you have to market and promote yourself, there's no other way to survive, then I would say that real genius will still survive.
Real genius will survive, definitely. On the flip, we also have, before he had the attacks, Salman Rushdie, who's quite active on Twitter.
Yeah.
We have Neil Gaiman, who's very active.
Yeah.
We had J.K. Rowling, who unfortunately got herself into all kinds of controversies.
But hold on a second.
But they'd already proved themselves.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying their greatest work has already been created and they have a body of work. Now they are sitting and engaging with the world around them, which they must. And they are, nobody can get away with saying that politics is not my cup of tea, because actually, if as thinkers, you are going to steer clear of making any political comment, then you have forfeited your right to influence and improve the world. So that's what these people have been doing.
And point to be noted for
they
all
haven't been saying, I got shortlisted for this award. Thank you, jury at Penn, for acknowledging my contribution to literature. I got this award. Thank you so much. Women's organization. I am because you are the wind beneath my wings. And I can go on and on. Thank you so much. Some random college in Timbuktu for calling me and, asking me to address your next batch of graduates. It has been such an honor. My God.
And you and I both know of
I'm sorry, this is such a rant, but
we have these messages in our inbox offering us to be leaders of whatever.
Paid leaders.
Of whatever, thought leaders, giving us awards for X amount plus taxes plus GST. And then you see the same thing being tooted on people's social media and you say, how can you put that up with a straight face? We all know this is bought.
Oh my God, yes. And there was a very big major media group that was doing this. We are coming out with a coffee table book. And then I personally know people who went and posted.
And posted, and why are you doing this?
Honored to be on the cover of this magazine.
At XYZ cost plus GST.
The only magazine I've ever graced the cover of was Mother and Baby. When my kids were small and somebody walked up to us and said, we'd love to feature you. So I said, okay, why not? It'll be a nice keepsake. And the other magazine that's chasing me for a cover is some Dog and Paws magazine for free. These are the only covers I've been offered for free.
I have been on Stories Zen. I have been on Femina, but only my name. Because they're
name I've been
not
on the
my
cover.
mugshot.
I'm talking about mugshot.
Mugshot, no.
Yeah.
But both were not paid for.
That's what I'm saying. That
I don't even have the money to pay for it.
Dogs and Paws wants me on the cover.
And because dogs are adorable.
But both are for free, okay? Thanks to my dogs that too. Like no merit. One is children, no merit to me, and no credit to me, and dogs. But I'm saying everybody else is doing coffee table books, and we are doing a list of 40 under 40, 50 over 40 or whatever the hell they are doing.
So when these are out there, everyone is getting these emails and we're talking about these emails publicly and these DMs. You still go pay for the reward. Fine,
so
you won the award.
Only an idiot does that. Only an idiot thinks that they have been shortlisted by the company to reach out to them via DM.
But don't you really introspect and think, am I really worthy of this award? Why would somebody give me an award out of the blue? What have I done to deserve it?
I think the hunger for fame, the hunger for recognition, and the deep-rooted insecurity which seeks validation from the world, even at the expense of paying for it, is what makes people go so far with self-promotion, paid or otherwise. That's what it is. That is what is at the core of this. Anybody who self-promotes, and I actually dug up some comments by psychologists because I thought I'm sure that psychologists have something to say about this. And I'm going to quote them. Okay. Here goes. So, psychologists say that there is a very strong relationship between excessive self-promotion and narcissism.
Okay.
There's also a strong relationship between people who have fragile self-esteem, low self-worth about their achievements, and excessive self-promotion. So we are going now beyond the need to let your product be known. I'm not saying that nobody should, talk about what they have done. I'm saying people who do it to the point of lunacy. So Dr. Susan David, who is a Harvard psychologist, and author of a book called Emotional Agility, says, relentless self-promotion is a way to feed your ego and constantly seek admiration of others. I mean, it's no news, breaking news. And Dr. Keith Campbell says that he's written a book called The Narcissism Epidemic, which I think we must read. Excessive self promotion can be a sign of underlying inferiority complex. When people feel an inherent lacking of self worth or abilities, they may overcompensate by constantly drawing attention to their accomplishments.
Is this also a product of the social media age? Because we are so wired now for these dopamine hits, for these likes, for these comments, that we feel
Sure.
compelled to keep posting about our achievements.
I think that there have been times when one has wondered that am I not talking enough about what I do? Because when you see everybody else is doing that, then it normalizes that. And then it's a natural human insecurity. Will I get overlooked? Okay. But I've really understood, I think that is the benefit of growing older, that whenever I've gone against what my gut is telling me, or what I'm uncomfortable with, and your body speaks to you. Whether you are making a gossip, making a mincemeat over somebody over lunch by gossiping about them behind their back, you start to feel a knot in your stomach, a tightness in your chest, an uneasy feeling. That's your body telling you don't do this. And similarly, whenever I've not listened to my inherent, like my inner feelings about not really overdoing it, I have regretted it later. And so I'm just more attuned to that now. And I'm like, let others do what they have to do.
Yeah. I think it's a big part, as you mentioned, of getting older. I just had a book out last month.
Yeah.
I've done nothing for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
When others post about it, I will retweet.
Yeah, of
I
course.
will share
But I mean, it'll be foolish not to do that.
that. Because they've taken time out to read it and say something about it. It would be very ungracious of me not to acknowledge it at least.
Also, you have to sell your product. So this is what I'm saying. Now, you can't go to the other extreme.
But I was also the person, Shonali, who would keep posting 3-4 times a day about my book.
Yeah.
So I've been on that side, and
So you grew
all
and learned,
against my instinct. My natural
Yeah.
instinct is very to be behind the scenes and
Yeah.
to not,
Correct.
talk about myself. But I kept doing it because I thought it was necessary. But now I've come to the realization it isn't.
Yeah, but that's called growing older.
That's called growing older,
Yeah.
and it's also called laziness. Perhaps.
Yeah, or maybe you're satisfied with your achievements. You don't need validation. So one is that, and also, Kiran, when your new book is out, you're looking for engagements, speaking engagements to promote your book at literature festivals and things like that. But the other thing these days is people are desperate for a platform to speak from because then they can talk about it on social media. And I can't even tell you how much this business has proliferated. There are people representing talent you've never heard of as speakers.
Really?
Yeah. And they'll always find some college or the other, and these people are willing to pay for their airfare. They're willing to do everything because they just need a little stage to be propped up from.
Okay.
So that is, again, this whole universe of self-promotion has so many verticals in it. So this, I want a platform to speak from. Or nowadays I've started saying no to moderating a lot of things. And I've been approached by people to say, one well-known actor, will you do, moderate a conversation with him? Very, very highly well-regarded actor who's won many awards. And I said no. And the person who approached me, I really respect her a lot. I like her. So I said, firstly, it takes too much out of me to do my research and prepare to, I'd rather be doing something else with my time. And I'm done. There was a time I used to willingly go to moderate conversations with real achievers because there was this joy in interviewing them, interacting with them. And there was also the thrill that, look, I'm doing it, right? And then the other day, this very big women's organization approached me, very, very large, and they wanted me to interview one of India's most best-selling authors. I don't read that genre of books, his genre of books, but he is hugely successful. And she said, I'm so surprised that you're turning this down because you're so good at moderating. And I said the same thing. I said, look, I don't have it in me. I don't want to be in front of a camera or large audience any longer. It takes too much out of me to do it. I said, the only time I agree to moderating something is if I'm already going to a literature festival to talk about my work, then additionally I will do it. Or I will do it if I stand to gain something intellectually or about the craft from a writer. So naturally, if I had to interview J.K. Rowling, I will bend over backwards to do it. But I'm not going to leap at an opportunity and interview everybody because I just want a few minutes of fame to rub off on me reflected glory. So I'm just saying that this has also come with time.
It has. I think I've turned down a lot of moderations
Yeah.
myself. And the only people I can't say no to is when a friend asks me.
No, that is different.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
So
just you being helpful.
that is the only time when I don't say no. Now I have said no left, right, and center to everyone because, as you said, I'm done with it.
It's too tiring and
it
exhausting.
takes out too much. There's preparation and all that. But coming to think of it, I think sometimes I envy people who can relentlessly self-promote.
Why do you envy them?
Because it does take a certain amount of courage to keep putting yourself out
It's
there.
not courage, it's vulgarity.
You know that people are going to mock you, make fun of you.
They don't know it.
You think so? They don't.
I think that desire to get those few minutes of fame and validation far supersedes their knowledge or their awareness of how they're going to be laughed at behind their backs.
But some of them are really intelligent people. I'm sure they would understand that if they're doing
Are
this.
they? We need to talk offline about this. Who are the highly intelligent people you know who are doing this recklessly?
Recklessly. We will share names later. But you wonder, you say that you know that you're going to be mocked for this. You know that at least you would have some inkling that you're irritating people by constantly putting this up about yourself. I'm so great, I'm so wonderful, I'm so lovely. Look at how many people love me, my work.
See, actors is different, huh? Their visibility is required. But I don't know any actors who self-promote like this. They just bichara post their pictures and their video shooting and doing stuff.
The only times actors come out of their cave on social media is when they have a movie release.
Which is what authors should do.
And very often it's a different ballgame altogether for actors and cricketers in India.
Yeah.
They are in a different league and different orbit. Whatever they do will be forgiven.
Yeah.
It's not so for the rest of us.
Sure.
We will be laughed at and we will be mocked.
Yeah.
You need to promote. I keep saying this, there has to be promotion. You have to be the biggest advocate of your creative work. But there's a fine line. You can't constantly keep
What
talking.
about people who are promoting their children's work and glorifying their children and living off their children's success at school, won another trophy, won this, won that. Of course, we all like to share.
Yeah, but the worst happens when the board results are out and everybody's posting their percentages of what their children have scored. That is no reflection on you, mama.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
There's no reflection on you. It's not
so proud this, so proud that. Listen, even that, if your child gets into a good university or a good college, so super proud, that's okay. We are all human beings. Look, even people who share on social media and say, if you want to wish your daughter happy birthday, why don't you do it privately? Why are you posting online? But then people even for the dear departed are writing comments online, miss you, dad, wish you were here. So I think it has just become a way of expressing your innermost emotions about certain things in your life and your certain relationships, and it's all right. I mean, there's no judgment there, but I'm saying
But I'm going to judge one thing. When you talk about dear departed people, the moment a celebrity dies, is it compulsory? Is it the rule that you have to dig out that one picture you have with the celebrity and post it?
Oh my God, yes. That is part of self-promotion. Also, it's not about the celebrity. It's about, oh my God, I'm sure people have an album of celebrities who have reached a certain age.
That is why they're clicking selfies with the celebrities and they're waiting for them to die so they can post the pictures online.
I still cherish that encounter, 5-second encounter I had with you.
Donkey years ago.
Whatever.
When you didn't even remember my name.
Where you didn't, I mean, where I actually basically ambushed you into taking a picture with me. And, oh my God, now Kate Middleton, by the way. Poor thing. Kate Middleton has been diagnosed with cancer. And I've been noticing people, because she had come to India, right?
Are posting pictures, their pictures
and
with
there
her.
was a big party that they had attended. And people are posting pictures saying, dear Kate, feel better soon.
Like
Is Kate Middleton reading our messages? Like, how deranged are you?
Like if any celebrity dies, what am I going to do? How am I going to condole their death? I don't have any pictures.
You need an album. You can start working now.
I have to start taking selfies.
Yeah. See, look again. Sometimes the good thing about social media is your intent becomes very apparent to the reader viewer. So supposing some great artist dies and a few weeks later you say remembering so and so because you've had a relationship with that artist, okay, or you've had an interaction that's left a lasting impression on you. That artist can be an actor or a artist or a
performer,
writer,
yeah.
any performer. That's different again, right? But the minute you've got the news of somebody dying, you've gone searching through albums.
For pictures. Maybe they have a special celebrity album, like whoever pops it,
Yeah.
like arranged by rote.
Yeah.
Another thing I find really strange is people who will promote you in the expectation that you will promote them back in return.
But that's okay. That's quid pro quo.
Once, twice, enough.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again until you forget that haath jodo ka emoticon also.
Really?
Like,
I don't know any such person.
There are some people. And sometimes you're happy to give people a shout out because you have that reach on Twitter,
Yeah.
vagera, vagera.
Be rest assured when my next book comes out, you will be expected to promote it.
That is a given. With friends, that's a given and that will be
No,
taken
only,
for
only
granted.
for the first 1 month. Kiran.
That's fine.
Not after that. Just let people know the book is out and then we are done.
But you won't expect me for every one day of the week for the next year to keep saying the same thing that Shonali is a wonderful writer, please buy a book. And there's another important thing I read, interesting thing I read, that there's a formula to self-promotion.
Okay. Let's hear it.
5 tweets of 5, 3 will be knowledge-based, genuine content creation. 2 will be sharing some, talking about somebody else's work, not the good in you saw in somebody else. If you watch something interesting, or 1 will be about yourself.
Okay, that's not a bad one.
That's, I think, a formula that everybody should
But
think
what
about.
do you do? For example, now if there's no book, no article to talk about, what will be that one tweet about myself that you propose I should write?
I met Ori.
No, that is never going to happen. So, what is that one tweet? No, I'm genuinely asking you. When there's no work to talk about, when there's a big lull between one work and your next, what is the one tweet? You can share a picture of your coffee mug.
You can share a picture of a podcast.
I'm saying when there's no work.
When there's no work.
Not just me, for anybody. What is the one tweet? I mean, I'm not sure I want to know so much about people who are doing nothing with their lives on Twitter. Instagram is a different cup of tea.
So I don't know. I don't think you can promote it. If there's nothing to promote, don't promote. It's not
So you
compulsory.
don't have to put out
You
that
don't
tweet about
have to
it.
put
Yeah.
out something constantly promoting yourself. Just be yourself and just talk about something that affected you. Why does it always have to be talking about your work? It doesn't need to.
Yeah, I feel sad that I have nothing to say on Twitter any longer.
But
No,
nobody's reading anything on Twitter, so you're not missing anything. Anyway, there's one quote which I thought was very interesting. It is by Marianne Williamson. And she says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be so brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? This is the part about self-promotion. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. So people who are self-promoting are giving other people permission to do the same. And that's leading to a vicious cycle of everybody self-promoting.
So are you saying that they're shining their light and it's fine?
I'm saying that they're shining their light.
They're shining their light too much.
Too
it's blinding.
much. Like we have too many lighthouses out there. It's blinding.
Correct. So on that great note, let's call it a day because this is a never-ending conversation and looking forward to seeing you guys again next week.